It's time to get lost in the Midcard. This Believe in Pro Wrestling property is brought to you by Bet Online, the continued #1 source for all your sport betting needs. Join now and receive your 100% welcome bonus on your first deposit when you use our promo code BELIEVE. Now, here are Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black on the Believe Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where we are right smack dab in the middle of a couple of major pay-per-views. We're going to talk about it all tonight on Lost in the Midcard. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here. Hard to believe it's already our last show of June, but here we are. We have Forbidden Door in the rear view. What a show that was. We'll get into that. We'll give you our Money in the Bank predictions as well. I get to take up most of the show, but we got a couple other things to talk about just in case. And of course, there is a certain AEW video game coming out this week as well. Some interesting Easter egg or news or spoilers or something maybe about that game. We'll get into all that and much more. But if you haven't done so already, make sure you are subscribed to the Believe in Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. That is BLEAV. For those listening on the podcast, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. That way you can join us live every Monday night, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, the official kickoff show to Monday Night Raw. As always, I am your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter at JBHuskers. And as always, my co-host, he is on the Twitter at RawF Showtime. It is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing?
I'm good. Where's your beard?
Yeah, it fell off.
It fell off. Wow.
Yeah. I decided to have the barber just whack it off when I had my haircut on Saturday before my 25-year high school reunion.
Oh, honestly, it's summertime. I don't blame you one bit. I would
that
imagine
don't bother
that
me.
beard was hot as. Look, if it don't bother you, more power to you. But man, when my regular beard gets too big, I'm like, man, I gotta trim this down.
Yeah,
and like I don't know how I'd do it.
I thought it was a good time. I thought it was a good time to just chop it all off with the reunion on Saturday. So
no, makes sense.
Yes, I didn't watch. I didn't get home till late. I didn't think I was gonna be there late, but we had so much fun with a bunch of people. I haven't seen it forever, so I had a good time there and caught up on Rampage and Collision. Before Forbidden Door on Sunday, did a whole lot of nothing, didn't even leave the house except to open up the door to get my Grubhub. That was about it. Man, Forbidden Door was a tremendous pay-per-view. Let's just get right into it with our lead. That baby right there, Forbidden Door, happened last night. BR Live, which amazingly I didn't have any issues with, but still I'd rather it be on something else. But anyways,
I watch it on Fight. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I need to get on that train. How much is it on Fight?
20.
Yeah, I better start doing that. I need to get a better VPN because I think my lifetime VPN that I'm through is not as good. So yeah,
Just get Nord, dude.
Yeah, I might have to do that. I can't even remember what mine was. Keepsoft or some shit like that. It worked fine for like various things, but yeah, I don't use it. VPN for much, so yeah, I might have to look into that. But anyways, Forbidden Door, man, just overall pretty damn good 5 hours of pro wrestling last night, wasn't it?
It's my favorite pay-per-view of the year so far.
Yeah,
and I don't even think it's up for debate. I think this has blown away everything that I've seen so far this year. I didn't think there was a bad match on the show. I loved the hell out of this damn show. I thought it was just fantastic top to bottom. And yeah, it really good, man. It was a really good show.
And even the yeah, I had the barber just whack it off, if you know what I mean. Not in that way, Charles, but anyways. Even the 0 hour was loaded. 8-man tag with Leona and Khan. Swerve and Cage, the Mogul Embassy, taking on Chaos with El Desperado, best friends, Rocky Romero. Good one there. Mogul Embassy winning as they probably should have in that type of match. Good to see 18-year-old Billy Starks in the Owen Cup tournament for the women. Ring of Honor World Champion Athena taking care of her, though, in a pretty decent match. It was not exactly a squash, but still a decent match there. One of my favorites, El Phantasmo, who has been excommunicated from the Bullet Club ever since David Finlay took over. He defeated Stu Grayson, of course, turned his back on the Dark Order to join the Righteous. And then Los Ingobernables de Japón, however you want to say it, Takagi Bushi, another favorite of mine, Hiromu Takahashi, defeated United Empire, which was Jeff Cobb, Kyle Fletcher, and TJ Perkins. So that was just a zero. You got that for free.
Yeah, it was loaded.
That was damn good.
Way to kick off the night.
Man, it was damn good. We kick off things with the AEW World Championship because MJF wants to get the hell out of Canada. So he demanded to go first. And so he took on Hiroshi Tanahashi. Of course, Hiroshi Tanahashi is slowing down, but still, it was still overall a very good match, I thought. I don't think the
people are giving him grief for having issues with the turnbuckles. Because to me, that was his main issue on Collision in Sunday Night, is he doesn't like the turnbuckle padding.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly understandable because that's not what he wrestles with in Japan.
Yeah.
They have those padded boxing corners. It's a lot easier to maintain your footing, on the top rope of a New Japan ring than it is for, a WWE or an AEW ring. So he had issues, and everybody was giving him grief for it all weekend. I'm just like, it's not that big of a deal. I really didn't think it was that big of a deal.
I think who was it? Somebody else had issues too. Maybe if
He's the only one I can recall that really had issues, but there might have been others.
Somebody else had it. It might have been in the Mogul Embassy match, and then Swerve I think it was the Mogul Embassy match, and then Swerve came over, kind of improvised.
Yeah, that was Collision.
Oh, was that Collision? Okay.
Because Tanahashi fell off.
Yeah, it's all blurring together.
The top rope and
I watched
Swerve
it all
hopped up to kind of save the.
But he's also
finish of the match.
He's also still a step slower. I mean, guy's 46 for crying out loud. So
yeah, look, he's not as fast as a Swerve Strickland, but I didn't think either match on Saturday or Sunday were necessarily bad. But I think a lot of people were harping on the fact that he was having trouble on the top rope, and I'm like, well, it's not because he can't do it; it's because he's having trouble, standing on a top turnbuckle when he's used to standing on another one for the last 20 plus years that don't have these, big fat padded turnbuckles up there to deal with. Yeah. So I thought it was people bitching just to bitch.
No, I wasn't even talking about the turnbuckle spots. I was just talking about overall.
Overall, I thought he did fine.
Yeah, he's just a step slower. It happens to everybody. That's what
happens when you get older. Yeah.
Father Time's undefeated. Speaking of Father Time, Satoshi Kojima still kicking ass, doing it against CM Punk. Again, we got the lariat in the corner. That just cracked me up. If you haven't seen an old video of him and Samoa Joe, that just puts it all together from a long time ago, back in the Ring of Honor days. Punk, boy, a little polarizing in Toronto, wasn't he?
I loved it. Loved it so much.
Man,
here's the thing. Punk was hoping for that reaction when he came out in Chicago last week.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was if you go back and look at the look on his face when he came out, he was ready to heal that Chicago crowd. But they
should know.
They wouldn't let him. They wouldn't freaking let him. So he still cut a rather heelish promo. But Chicago crowd, loved it. They ate the damn thing up. When he got that response in Toronto this weekend, the look on his face is like, there we go. This is what I wanted. This is what I can work with. Yep. He's real. you could tell that man is ecstatic about the fact that he's going to get to work like a heel type style with some of these crowds. He's ready for it, man.
Not only Saturday, but he did it on Sunday too. The old Hogan brother. The old
Yeah,
Hogan
on
leg
Saturday
drop.
he did the boot. He did the boot and the leg drop on Saturday. It was just the hand cup and the
brother
and the leg drop on the pay-per-view. But my God, dude, he's loving it.
Yeah,
he's loving being a heel.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No surprise, Punk moving on because this was also a quarterfinal match in the Owen Cup. I think I was perfect on my predictions. I was, yep. My only one I was worried about was the main event, and I was right on that one too. So I was perfect all the way through. Not counting 0 Hour, I probably would have got one wrong on 0 Hour at least. So, but Punk moving on. He'll take on the winner of, my God, I can't wait for this. I don't know if it's on Dynamite or Collision. Probably Collision. Samoa Joe and Roddy Strong. Well, that's going to be good, especially if you're a fan of Ring of Honor from back in the day.
To me, the semifinals are blatantly obvious.
Yeah, they are.
It's Punk and Joe, and it's Starks and Hobbs.
Yeah, there's not really much room for an upset.
That's the semis.
Because Hobbs is taking on Dustin Rhodes. Ricky's taking on Juice. Yeah, there's not really much rooms for upsets outside of maybe
getting Juice and Rhodes instead of Starks and Hobbs would really suck.
I mean, the only thing I could think of is if Punk screws Joe.
I would hate that.
That's the only.
I would hate that. I would hate that so much. I don't want to see Punk and Roderick Strong in 2023.
That's the only thing is like, if Punk's starting to play a heel, he's gonna start being scared of Joe, and so he's gonna screw Joe. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I'm putting it out there to say it could happen.
If it happens, I'm blaming you.
Good.
I'm going to yell at you next Monday.
Punk cheats to win the Owen by MK. I would not hate that. Punk and Starks in the final. That would be a pretty good way to do it. I would not hate that, but yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's probably your best bet. It would be Punk and Starks in the finals, and Punk cheats to win.
A Greco-Roman dick.
I would not roll that out.
A Greco-Roman dick kick to win. Next up in the pay-per-view, a tremendous on paper and tremendous in the ring as well. The Fatal 4-Way for the International Championship. Orange Cassidy, Zack Sabre Jr., Katsuyori Shibata, and Daniel Garcia. I absolutely lost it when Daniel Garcia started dancing harder the more he was getting hit by all three guys. I cracked up at that. I laughed my ass off at that.
He's such a dork, dude.
I love that dance.
Everybody wants to chant that he's a pro wrestler. That man is a bona fide sports entertainer, and there's nothing you can do to convince me otherwise.
I love the Daniel Garcia dance. It is amazing. Just these four men are so good, and I was very excited when this got put together, and it delivered. Shibata hit the PK on Daniel Garcia. Orange Cassidy pushes Shibata out of the ring and covers up for the pin to escape once again. 25th defense of that title. It's no doubt it's the most impressive thing for an AEW champion at this point right now. Just because MJF doesn't barely wrestle. So,
I mean, Cassidy's absolutely made the international title the second title in AEW.
He's elevated it. Yeah, he's elevated it above the TNT title. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, So.
I think the TNT title is the lowest title in AEW right now.
MK in the chat.
I put that below both of the women's championships.
Orange Cassidy has 25 title defenses in 9 months, while Roman had 28 or 29 in 34 months. Put that into comparison there. You're my tribal chief.
I think they're going to be doing a very similar thing in WWE with Rollins' amount of title defenses. With the Raw title is comparable to Roman's title defenses on SmackDown. I think they're going to do something very similar with that.
Yeah, I think so. We might get maybe on Wednesday. There hasn't been much announced for Wednesday yet. But maybe we get Sabre and Orange Cassidy. That might happen. We'll see. But after the in the end, Shibata and Orange Cassidy shake hands, and we move on to the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Sonata against Jungle Boy, one of the shorter matches of the evening, which I still thought was a very good match. They got a lot in. Jungle Boy, hitting Sonata's submission finisher. He did it to win on Collision on Saturday, and then he did it on Sonata as well. But Sonata able to escape it. And then I thought it was a pretty good match. I mean, again, it was one of those where the result was nowhere near. It was pretty obvious what the result was going to be. And I think it was pretty obvious what the result was going to be with the fact that Hook was with him at ringside, because then, of course, obviously, now we know after the match, Jungle Boy completely turning on Hook. I thought Taz on commentary for this thing was
fantastic.
Boy. And then what a way to switch out, because obviously it was planned to switch him and Shivani out, but what a way to use that as Taz.
That transition was done perfectly.
Yeah,
because sometimes they swap the people out and it's like, why are they even bothering? This time it made perfect sense, and I was like, that was a great transition for the commentary team right there.
Yeah,
and Jungle Boy and Hook breaking out their inner DIY, because that's what it reminded me of when DIY split champ turned on Gargano at the end of an NXT takeover. Like, that's exactly what it reminded me of, up at the top of the ramp and everything.
Only thing missing was the ending graphic, because it wasn't the end of the night.
Yeah, well, they can do that, but that's what it reminded me of.
Steven Chambers in the chat won't be surprised if Perry attacks Taz to get more heat. That'd be perfect. I'd love to see that. MK in the chat, does he cut his hair? A man bun would be great.
There's no way he cuts his hair.
He needs new music though. We ain't getting.
I think Tarzan Boy's done.
Yeah. Say goodbye to that.
It will live forever in AEW Fight Forever, but it.
Yeah, it'll.
I don't think we're ever going to hear that again on AEW program, and for at least for a while until he turns babyface again. Tony
will pony it back up once he turns babyface again. But
I think he has to. I think he already owns the rights to use it anytime he wants. It's just they're not gonna.
Well, does he have to re-up it every so often though?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Much like another tune we heard at the end of the night. We'll get to that in a little bit. Tony Schiavone replacing Taz on commentary. Kansas entering in with the Elite, the Hung Bucks entering into Kansas. Carry on my wayward son. Blackpool Combat Club coming out to Death Rider. What Moxley comes out to in Japan. Loved it. This 10-man tag was your typical Elite BCC. A lot of shit going on. The dynamics between Eddie Kingston and John Moxley were great. They continued the hatred between Eddie Kingston and Claudio. And then, of course, you got Ishii, and you got Uno, who I did not realize that was Red Shoe's kid until they said that last night.
Yep.
This was a damn good 10-man tag. Didn't expect Ishii to pin Yuta on this one. I did predict the Elite to win, but I didn't expect it to go down like that. I'm curious. Plus, I'm curious to see how many of these Japanese guys are going to stick around for Dynamite. I'd like to hopefully get a few more matches coming out of this Forbidden Door. But I think we were gonna get Danielson and Ishii on Wednesday, but clearly that's not happening now because Danielson said at the post scrum that the original plan was he was scheduled to wrestle on Wednesday. Yeah. Which is happening now. I think the plans were going to be he was going to fight Ishii, but nothing. Look, freak accident. It happens. I'm sure we'll be talking about it in a few minutes, but bummer. Takeshita looked awesome in this match, I thought. Obviously, the stuff with Eddie was great. I thought it was a damn good brawl that eventually is gonna be leading to blood and guts. We got some news on that later on if we get time. You got to wonder if they might decide to push that back now since they're not going to have Danielson for it. Yeah. Like it's questionable now. Like it's right in that wheelhouse. Well, we'll just get into it right now. Coming out from Fightful Select yesterday, The location is possibly going to be at the TD Garden in Boston on Wednesday, July 19th for Blood and Guts. Well, that does put it at about well, no, that's not even 4 weeks. So yeah, they're going to definitely push that back.
Yeah, I mean, unless they do it without him, I mean, they can, but then I don't know how you do the 5-on-5.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you bring in the guy they just tagged with, and do it that way.
Yeah.
Because I really feel like Blood and Guts is where we're getting a Bushi. So I mean, do we get a Bushi without Danielson? Like I don't know. It's
Or you
a
can just
lot
do
to
4-on-4 without Ibushi. I don't know.
Man, that would suck. That would suck.
MK in the chat. Christian was right about Jungle Boy. He was. Christian's a genius. This is what I said. This is what I asked for on the pay-per-view on Twitter. I asked for Takeshita and Ishii on Wednesday, so maybe that'll be
their exchanges were bonkers. When he leveled Ishii and Ishii dropped on like the apron, I was like, my God, that was crazy. I've never seen Ishii sell like that.
Yeah.
So
that was like a great glimpse into the future against the present and past. That was very cool with those guys there. But yeah, so yeah, with that being 3 weeks away, and yeah, it's either gonna be you got to push it back. You got to include Danielson in that. I would say.
The thing is, if they don't do Blood and Guts there, they have to have Mercedes Moné.
Yeah.
Because like that's the freaking Celtics arena. Like it's a big fucking venue.
Yeah.
And if you're not gonna have something as big as like Blood and Guts, you need something extra. To engage the sales for that venue. So if they're not going to get Blood and Guts, they need, Mercedes. Or maybe they do the women. Maybe they just do a women's Blood and Guts this year, and they push it off the one between the Elite and the BCC for later on. Anyway, you get 2 Blood and Guts, in the course of a year instead of just one. And that's a possible route to go.
Well, I was almost with the way things were shaping up. I thought they were going to do 2 in one night, and that was going to be your show. But yeah, I don't think that's going to happen now because Danielson's going to be out 4 to 8 weeks. We'll give you the latest on that later. The only women's match on the card, the AEW Women's title on the line, Toni Storm against Willow Nightingale. Went about 10 minutes. Pretty decent little match there. Toni Storm cheating to win. Then we got for the IWGP United States Championship, Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay going almost 40 minutes. Oh boy.
Didn't feel like it.
No. I've seen people put this ahead of Wrestle Kingdom, but that's easy to do when you just saw it. This is probably something we're gonna have to put them in back to back towards the end of the year to really make a fair assessment. But like off the top of your head, did you think this was better than Wrestle Kingdom?
I did. And the only reason I can't say that with 100% certainty is because of Don Callis.
Yeah.
I think if Don Callis' bullshit wouldn't have been involved, I think I would absolutely say it was better than Wrestle Kingdom. I think Callis coming back out after being ejected took a bit for me.
Yeah, it was dumb.
Because the referee is like, why aren't you re-ejecting him? He's supposed to be gone. Why are you just letting him out here? And like that part like kind of frustrated me mentally. But, like the match itself was so good, even with the Callis bullshit, I think it might have been better than Wrestle Kingdom. And but I mean that's not taking anything away from the Wrestle Kingdom bout. Like they're both incredible. And if we're lucky, maybe we see the rubber match at All In.
Yeah, Wembley, I think.
In London, Wembley.
Yeah, I fully expect that to happen. The commentary tried to explain it by saying that Callis is going to be heavily fined, but still,
well, it still made the referee look like a dumbass.
Yeah,
like the referee should have at least have attempted to, re-eject him from ringside.
Forcibly,
so just ignore the fact that he was back. I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
That was dumb. But that was the only low part of a tremendous man. The pop of the arena when Omega kicked out at 1 when Ospreay hit the one-winged angel was fucking great. That was a great spot.
Bonkers, man.
Bonkers. Ospreay doing the old Chris Benoit licking the blood of his opponent. That was a little,
Ugh.
What are you doing, sir? I know you sick fuck. There's any chant that you sick fuck fits in, that would be it right there.
It was a very appropriate chant.
Man, Ospreay, he was like when Omega had him in that triangle and like all that blood on his chest was Ospreay's. Hardly any of that was Omega's. It was insane how much Ospreay was bleeding. And Ospreay hit a nice V trigger too. I like that. That was a good move. Just insane. Just insane. It did not feel like 40 minutes, and I predicted Ospreay to win this one. I think Ospreay is going to win the rubber match, and hopefully it all in. Hopefully it all in. It makes sense to have it at Wembley. I think that third match has to be at Wembley, in my opinion. But wow, that was amazing. And you had to follow it. Obviously, we had one match left in between that and the main event and the 6-man tag match. Sting, Darby Allin, Sia Naito taking on Jericho, Guevara, and Suzuki. And this was it was a pretty good match. It was something that was needed, obviously, to kind of take a breath between that and the main, what we just saw in the main event. The Guevara, Jericho, Suzuki pose, I thought that was pretty funny. Obviously, everybody hyped for Sting and Jericho. But then when they got face to face the ring, the crowd seemed kind of quiet. But of course, they might have been worn out from the match before.
That was look. I told this to my friend. I don't remember which friend I told it to, but like, this is the weirdest cool down match I think I've ever seen, because they needed that cool down match buffer between that and the main event, and they chose that match, and it's not technically not the match I would have gone with.
Well,
but yeah, crowd was fucking spent at that point.
Yeah,
and
you can't put the women in there.
They were really, the crowd was exhausted after Omega Ospreay, and you could feel it throughout the rest of the show. But
yeah, it
didn't stop from how great the rest of the show still was. It just
you couldn't put the only women's match in there. That would not be good. So there was you only had, was like, what else do you put in there? You could have put Sonata and Jungle Boy in there, I guess, but
that probably would have been the better call. But then you fuck up the commentary order.
Yeah.
So you had to have Taz out there for that moment. So the placement made sense where they put things. It's just like when I imagine like the cool down match done on a pay-per-view, it's not a match that features Sting and Chris Jericho in it. That's all I'm saying.
So they have announced that there's a tag match on Wednesday, right? Darby and Sting.
Yeah, with Sammy and the Painmaker.
Sammy didn't turn. Maybe that's because we already had one turn. So maybe Sammy turns on Jericho Wednesday instead, because we already had the one turn with Jungle Boy. So main event time. Holy shit. The late 80s classic by Europe hits, and we all go nuts for the first time in a long time. Bryan Danielson comes out to the final countdown.
2009.
And Tony Khan said that cost more than some wrestlers' salaries to get the rights to that.
He said it cost him. He said it costs as much as a wrestling contract.
Yeah, a contract, not just a salary. Jesus.
So yeah, but who knows what wrestler he's referring to? That could be
could be Fuego.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big differential in like the contract of. Yeah, well, you use Fuego, for example, in the contract of Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still think it was probably crazy expensive, but I'm hoping they figure out a way to make it his permanent theme going forward, because that shit's fucking magic, man. I got really emotional last night hearing that song for Danielson again. So yeah, I want them to figure out a way to keep it.
For several hundred thousands of dollars, you could play the Final Countdown 20 times a year.
What?
That's what Tony Khan said last night. Or not last night. Oh, this is 2 years ago.
I was going to say he did not say that because I watched the media scrum last night.
This is a quote from 2 years ago. Danielson said that 2 years ago.
Yeah, well they just changed up like within the last week, like the ownership of that music library changed.
Oh, did it?
So like there's a chance that
it's higher.
That could open the door to something more manageable, I would hope.
Oh.
Hopefully not higher.
No shit.
It's bad. Like if you're gonna do it, like use it to freaking get the music out there more, not charge more for it. That would be awful.
Damn good main event. Not as good as Omega and Ospreay, but still very damn good match that I don't think, especially with Okada tapping out the way he did, I don't think this is over between these guys.
And who knows what the original finish of this match was supposed to look like.
Yeah, with Brian getting hurt.
Because Brian fractured his forearm like with 10 minutes left to go in the match.
Yeah.
And I think they improvised and changed a lot up in that final 10 minutes that probably wasn't, their initial plan. So
yeah,
massive props for Danielson to fracture his forearm like that and still be able to go for another 10 minutes with Okada and have the match that he did. Like, insanely impressive.
The media scrum, Bryan Danielson said, I was planning on wrestling on Wednesday this week. I don't think that's going to happen because in this specifically, we think I fractured my right forearm with about 10 minutes left to go. Talking to our doctors, and I love the AEW medical staff and trainers. They think it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks for this specific injury. The stuff after Revolution and the Iron Man match with Max, I had a torn labrum and some compressed vertebrae. That's normal wrestler stuff. I'm fine. We just thought for a precautionary measure. So that's the update that Danielson gave in the media scrum afterwards.
Yeah.
Man, overall, I mean, it was a magical night. It had to be because you had two, one once in a lifetime type. Well, not once in a lifetime, because we all know WWE, it's never once in a lifetime. But Danielson and Okada getting together, and then of course with Ospreay and Omega after what they did at Wrestle Kingdom, and they purposely, Ospreay said this in interviews since. Ospreay said that they purposely designed a different match than Wrestle Kingdom, and I'm looking forward to hopefully the next match that they design, which is hopefully at Wembley Stadium. So
they're definitely going for the rubber match. I just don't know when and where for sure. It makes sense, but yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm really excited to see what happens next because I don't think they're done. I don't think Danielson and Okada are done. I could actually see the rematch between Danielson and Okada happening at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, that's what MK says in the chat.
I could absolutely see that happening at Wrestle Kingdom and Okada getting his own back in Japan. So
some fallout from last night's show. Will Ospreay says that he is going to cut down. He's going to be wrapping up doing independence this year. I don't know if that means is he going to leave New Japan? Is he going to go to AEW? I don't know. But he says he's going to take less dates, obviously, because it's time for him to be more sensible. And he's dealt with some injuries over the years as well. So he needs
to take care of his body. I don't blame him.
Exactly. And a full-time run in the United States is something he is definitely well-deserved. If pay the man. I don't care who, pay the man. Because he deserves a contract in the United States, but
the way I look at it at this point in a wrestler's career, if you're still making good money, and you can live comfortably without having to double up with the independents, I don't blame you for 1 second for not working the independent scene anymore.
Yeah,
at some point you just have to worry about yourself and your own, physical and mental health, and cutting out the excess work that you don't really need to do probably would be beneficial to adding years to a wrestler's life.
Yeah. Tony Khan said at the media scrum that that the pay-per-view buys for the show were up from both Double or Nothing, which was the preceding pay-per-view, as well as last year's Forbidden Door. Last year's Forbidden Door got about 125 to 127,000 buys on pay-per-view. Double or Nothing this year drew 140,000 buys, so you got to say that they probably were pushing 150 possibly with Forbidden Door. And I mean, my God, with those two main marquee matches that you had on there, not a big surprise that a lot of people were interested. The gate
but JB, the casuals don't care about New Japan.
Oh, okay, MJF. What was that on his robe?
New Japan is the Indies or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, like to me, it look selling out the arena in Toronto, the biggest gate in AEW history until a couple months from now when All In smashes it.
Yep.
The pay-per-view buys through the roof. You just got to stop listening to the freaking dorks online who just want to complain about shit just to complain.
Yeah, Steven, hope a streaming service because All In and All Out are a week apart. That's going to be a wild week of pro wrestling in Chicago. Man, if I was not going to New Orleans later the month after that, man, I'd be in Chicago in a heartbeat for this.
I think I am going to Chicago.
Hell yeah. According to WrestleTix,
I'm pretty sure I'm going.
According to WrestleTix, 13,500 tickets were distributed for the show at Scotiabank Arena, and Tony Khan said in the media scrum it raised $1.2 million for the gate. Will Ospreay also reflecting on the match regarding Kenny Omega and said on Twitter, Kenny Omega is once in a lifetime. There will never be anyone that will be able to master the craft the way he has. Overcoming him was legitimately the most challenging and yet rewarding task of my life. While everyone can say they're all elite, you can say you're above elite. Will Ospreay very appreciative for Kenny Omega in interviews since as well.
Yeah, he had a great media Q&A last night during the scrum. I thought he carried himself tremendously well. It was very cool.
More news on the Will Ospreay Kenny Omega Forbidden Door match coming from Fightful Select earlier this afternoon. Many voiced concerns over spots in the match and condition the competitors would be after a series of moves that were deemed risky. Obviously, I think one of them was mainly Kenny Omega getting dropped on his head. That did not look good. But both wrestlers came out pretty much unscathed. Kenny Omega said that he feels fine after the match ended. They returned backstage to applause and a standing ovation from the peers backstage in the after the match. This, much like the Wrestle Kingdom match, was meticulously planned and wanted it to be a lot different. Obviously, with Wrestle Kingdom, Omega had a lot of the offense in that match there. All right, let's talk about another pay-per-view coming up this Saturday afternoon. And I say afternoon because we're in London, England for Money in the Bank, one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. Those 7 men are going to be climbing a ladder to try to get a briefcase. And there's going to be a civil war. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff. Unlike past WWE pay-per-views, actually 6 matches already on the card instead of 2 or 3. And we got to piece together the rest of it. But we're going to go ahead and give our predictions here. The show starts 2 Eastern, 1 Central, Saturday afternoon. So you can watch that and maybe get a bite to eat and then come back, watch some Collision, and then do what you're going to do on the rest of your Saturday night.
I thought it started at 3 Eastern.
I thought I'm thinking a kickoff show probably is what I'm thinking.
Okay, yeah. Kickoff. If it's anything like past kickoffs WWE's been doing lately, it ain't going to matter. So 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central.
Let's kick it off with return on SmackDown this Friday. with Liv Morgan returning about a month earlier than planned from injury. And so Liv and Raquel trying to get back the titles they never lost for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Of course, they were combined also last week on SmackDown when Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler defeated Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. For this one, I don't see Baszler
Baszler.
I don't see
Shayna Baszler, baby.
I don't see Baszler and Rousey losing these titles for a while, so I don't think Raquel and Liv.
I don't foresee a title change either. As long as Rousey's good with working NXT, I don't foresee them dropping those titles anytime soon. Look, good. I'm glad the NXT Women's Tag Team titles are rest in peace because they should have never been created to begin with. The idea of the WWE Women's Tag Team titles was that you could take them and defend them on all three brands, and they ruined that by creating a second set of women's tag titles. Yeah. So by those titles being combined, the tag titles are now what they were actually supposed to be to begin with. They could be defended on all three shows. Yeah. So, like I said, as long as Rousey doesn't have a problem working Tuesday nights in Orlando, I don't see Rousey and Baszler losing those titles anytime soon.
Does she live in Orlando?
I have no idea where Rousey lives.
I don't know either. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that match is going to be. Another obvious result will be, hopefully obvious. Boy, there'll be some groans otherwise. Cody Rhodes against Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, unless Lesnar's flying to London just to hit a fucking F5, this is an open and shut case for Cody. Well, and I think Cody wins. I don't see them bringing in Brock without advertising Brock.
No,
especially in London. That just seems like a weird move. And let's face it, if Brock was going to London, someone would spot Brock going to London. He's not somebody that, doesn't stand out in a crowd. So yeah, I think Rhodes wins because I think we see Lesnar on Monday. Yeah. When Raw comes through Baltimore.
Set up SummerSlam,
by the way. Yes, to set up their rubber match SummerSlam, which is so fucking dumb. But what can you do?
Again, one of the best stories that's been told in pro wrestling for the longest time, and of course the story's been going on for about 3 years now, has now culminated into the Bloodline Civil War match. The Usos taking on Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. This is a tough one. It's a coin flip here, but who do you see taking this one, Matt?
If you're doing the right thing, it's got to be the Usos. The Usos have to win because if they don't, then the story's already done. Yeah. Roman beats them, Roman puts them in their place, and everybody moves along their merry way. I feel like the Usos have to win in order for the bloodline story of the crumbling of the faction to continue. I feel like it's a must win for the Usos.
Imagine if Jey Uso pins Roman Reigns.
Well, yeah, if that happens, that's probably your SummerSlam match.
Yep.
If Jey Uso pins Roman Reigns in the tag match, there's your title match SummerSlam in August.
That's how I think it's going to go down, is Jey pinning Roman. So
yeah, I can't roll that out at all.
I've been going back.
If either Uso pins Roman,
yeah,
that could be your title match for SummerSlam. So I'm not rolling that out one bit.
Man, imagine if they both pin him at the same time. That's a triple threat.
I don't want that. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's how WWE works sometimes. World Heavyweight title on the line because Roman ain't working. Roman ain't defending in London.
That man has not defended his title since WrestleMania, and we're supposed to acknowledge his title reign. Fuck that shit. Either defend your title or get the fuck out.
Yeah. Seth freaking Rollins, Finn Balor. I keep going back and forth. I've been going back and forth ever since this feud started. I think Finn Balor wins.
I don't. Rollins absolutely retains. He's been taking too many beatings from Finn in the last week to go into London and lose. There's no way. There's no way Rollins loses.
Well, I think Finn wins. I'm gonna stick with Finn here. We've seen Jay versus Roman, but yeah, that's how the bloodline started. Was Jay versus Roman. So that's how it's gonna finish. It's gonna finish the way it started. So, then we got the Money in the Bank. Women, are they adding a 7th? Because the men added a 7th.
I hope they do. Or because just the simple fact that the men get one more than the women's kind of dumb. Like add a 7th.
Who would be the 7th?
I have no idea, but I'm still saying that it should be done.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna do it the way you did it with the men, there's no reason that the women can't have a 7th too.
We can only predict what we got in front of us. So the 6 women announced right now so far: Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Bayley, Io Sky, Trish Stratus. Who do you think who grabs the briefcase, Matt?
Io Sky.
I agree. I think Io Sky and Asuka at SummerSlam, maybe. I don't know.
I just want her to hold on to the briefcase for more than 24 hours.
Yeah, what has any woman held on to it for more than 24 hours?
Carmella.
Yeah, okay.
First one, that's it.
And that most of that holding was done by James Ellsworth, so
don't get me started.
Men's Money in the Bank. Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight. Yeah! Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, Logan Paul. You know who I'm rooting for, and you know who I'm predicting. L.A. Knight. Yeah! You agree?
I want LA Knight to win, but I don't trust WWE to give the people what they want.
Logan Paul, huh?
And I have this sickening feeling in the pit of my stomach that Logan Paul's winning this match. I want LA Knight to win, but I am not going to be surprised if Logan Paul's the man holding up the briefcase at the end of the night.
Hey, you know, when it's all said and done, I mean, Logan Paul's done a hell of a job. So I don't discount him winning it. He deserves it because of the job he's done in WWE so far. But yeah, man, boy, the support for LA Knight keeps growing. And if you watch SmackDown this week, it got
I feel a lot more confident if Vince's fingerprints weren't all over these shows again.
I know.
Like, and Vince was never a fan of this guy.
Well, at least they're not trying to pipe in booze for him. So
yeah, but they're still trying to force him into being a heel.
I saw this on Twitter last night, and I was like, oh yeah, I kind of agree. Logan Paul looks like El Phantasmo.
I saw a lot of comparisons on that last night.
Yeah.
Poor El Phantasmo.
We got in the chat here, everybody doing their picks here. Yeah, that's the other thing is like the Finn and Damian are angle of that. I would
actually love that. It would be something different, but I don't think they're gonna do it.
Well, Fightful 2 hours ago released an article that says WWE has been ecstatic about the Judgment Day's performance, which makes me wonder if it might be Priest and Balor. But obviously,
I don't know. Like they're doing Cody and Priest tonight. Like, does Priest really need another loss heading into potentially winning the briefcase? Like,
yeah, but you know how WWE works. Man. You go on a losing streak before you win the briefcase. Then when you win the briefcase, you go on another losing streak. That's just how WWE likes to work. We got 8 minutes until Monday Night Raw.
I think based on when those matches take place on the show, we'll know what happens. If Balor wins, Priest is winning the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
But if the briefcase happens beforehand and it's anybody but Priest, Rollins is retaining.
I wonder if
it's all going to depend on the order of the show that's going to, determine these things.
Yeah, I wonder if, well, that Civil War's closing the show.
It shouldn't, but it probably will.
You know it will. Steven picking EO. MK picking Logan Paul. Steven Chambers also picking Logan Paul. And Austin Theory. AEW, not much announced outside of the tag match with Sting and Darby. And then
I feel like they need to restructure that show. I think it was going to be based around whatever Danielson was doing.
yeah.
And with
then
Danielson out, they need to rework the card. So we probably won't know much about Dynamite until tomorrow evening at the earliest, I would guess.
Yeah, the only other advertised match is Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, against Ruby Soho in the quarterfinal of the Owen Cup.
Ruby Soho.
Thank you, Taz. Kurt Angle on his podcast gave us an update on the guy on your left there, Mr. Randy Orton, and says that he's doing good. He's recovered from his back surgery. I think he's going to come back pretty damn soon. He's doing much better. So possibly we could see I've seen some rumblings that say maybe Orton might be the guy that ends Gunther's icy reign. I don't know if I agree with that necessarily, but
I don't agree with that either.
No, I've been seeing rumblings of that lately.
To me, Randy Orton's not coming back from career-threatening back surgery
for the IC title
to work for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah,
my ass. Like, that's not fucking happening.
And Thursday, though Amazon says I'm not getting it till Friday, so fuck you, Amazon.
That's why you don't buy your video games through Amazon.
Usually I get them the day of, but maybe I'll cancel it and get it through Best Buy. And we'll see. I'll look into that while we watch Raw.
You need to just cancel and buy the damn Elite Edition and get it on Wednesday.
Yeah, I want a physical copy, though.
Yeah, but
yes, it has been announced by AEW.
Season pass. Come on, man.
The full roster for AEW Fight Forever coming out this week, Thursday and Friday, release there. And here are, you got Abaddon, Adam Cole, baby, Adam Page, Andrade El Idolo, Anna Jay, Aubrey Edwards, Brian Cage, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, Mr. Brody Lee, Bryan Danielson, Chris Jericho, Christian Cage, Chuck Taylor, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes. Oh my God, Cody Rhodes in the game. Darby Allin, Dustin Rhodes, Eddie Kingston, Hikaru Shida, Jade Cargill, Jeff Hardy, John Silver, John Moxley, Jungle, the freshly healed Jungle Boy, Kenny Omega, Chris Statlander, Lance Archer, Luchasaurus, Malachi Black, Matt Jackson, Miro, MJF, Nick Jackson, Nyla Rose, Orange Cassidy, Owen Hart, Pac, Paul White, Penta, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ray Phoenix, Ricky Starks, Riho, Ruby, Soho, Sammy Guevara, Scorpio Sky Sting, Tay Mello, Thunder Rosa, Trent Barello, Trent Beretta, Wardlow, and Yuka Sakazaki.
You add in the 2 Matt Hardys for the pre-order bonus and the first season pass, and that puts the roster at 60 characters.
Not bad at all.
I am embargoed from talking about the game until Wednesday, but as someone who has put over 30 hours into the game already, I'm here to tell you the gameplay is as advertised, and it is a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, so Matt can't comment on this, but apparently someone data mined a mode that has not been talked about yet. Apparently, there is a Stadium Stampede mode, which is like a battle royale sort of thing. 30 people, last man standing. That sounds pretty damn cool. Hopefully that's
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'll talk about it. Like, in my build, it's not there.
Oh.
Like, unless it's unlockable, it's not there. But if you go back to the ESRB reveal earlier this year, the Stadium Stampede match type is blatantly listed as something that existed. So that's why everybody's been asking about it. Yep. And during one of the All Elite arcades, when Uno was playing with -1, -1 accidentally paused the menu, and there was an option, one of the options there for the Stadium Stampede match type. So, like, it's going to happen, but in my current build of the review copy that I have, like, it's not there. So it's not like I'm not sitting here saying something, out of turn. I'm not breaking embargo as far as I'm concerned. I can't comment on something that's not there. So, like, it's not there. But, like, if this is a game mode that, like, they didn't feel like they had it done in time for launch and it's going to come out later, I could see the Game Pass launch being held off to coincide with the release of Stadium Stampede to bring in a new influx of players when that match type is ready to go. So I've read all the data mine stuff. I've seen what you've seen. I even quote retweeted it because I was like, I don't know anything about this. I can't get trouble posted about something I don't know. That's not in my build. How are you going to yell at me for that? Like, if it was in my build, I keep my mouth shut, but it ain't. So, like, I'm excited about it. It sounds like fun, and it sounds like it would be massive, add massive replayability value online to this game. And I'm freaking hyped. Like I said, the gameplay delivers.
I can't wait. You know what? And anyways, I gotta wait till Friday. Anyways, I host trivia on Thursdays, so I gotta wait till Friday. Anyways,
son of a bitch.
I'll live. I will live.
You will not.
Raw starts in 2 minutes. So with that said, Matt, any final thoughts going into Money in the Bank?
No, I want everybody to enjoy AEW Fight Forever this week. Charles mentioned in the chat he wants New Japan and Fight Forever. If this game sells well and people buy the season pass, I promise you, we're gonna get New Japan wrestlers, New Japan arenas, all that shit. They're coming to the game. Everything you could want and imagine. Extra creator wrestler parts, extra match types, new attires, new arenas, new wrestlers. If you guys want all of this stuff,
skinny Japanese tables,
years, they're all going to be coming to the game as long as you're buying the game and you're financially supporting it through their season passes and stuff like that. Like, that's all it's going to come down to. If this game is a financial success, all of that stuff is going to come. Yeah. If you speak with your wallet and make this game successful.
Matt and I will, Matt will talk about what he has had to withhold. I will talk about what I've seen too, because I will have the game in my hands on Friday and going to play it this weekend. So we'll give you our first-hand reports here. Maybe do a special stream down the line. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. We'll talk about that.
I'm going to have a full-blown review on WrestleZone on Friday.
Yep.
That's my plan. I don't want to do a review yet because I've not gotten a chance to play the online. So I figured wait till day one to play online, because online before launch always works, but on launch day, it's never the same story. No. So I want to wait to give a proper review by playing the online Thursday, and then I will be dropping an AEW Fight Forever review on WrestleZone on Friday.
Absolutely. So for Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Thank you for tuning in to Lost the Midcard. We'll be back at you with our Fight Forever review and our review of Money in the Bank. Yeah! Next Monday. Enjoy Raw.